All right, hope everyone's having a nice weekend. Weekend market update on a Saturday. Got some things going on tomorrow, so we're going to get this out a day earlier than we typically do. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. Please use my videos for your education. The things I talk about could go up, could go down, they could go sideways as always. Today we're going to keep it a pretty streamlined agenda. We're going to do SPX denominated in M2. We're going to do Bitcoin high time frame. We're going to do IWM because there really isn't much of a change in the dollar. There really isn't much of a change in the yields. And so not gonna update those until we see some material changes as it relates to our previous analysis. So folks, this is the most important chart in finance right now, has been for a while. And the counterpart, the counterpart expression of what's going on here is also expressed in the Bitcoin chart, in my opinion, on a high time frame. That's the most bullish chart, in my opinion, in all of finance. This is the most important chart in finance because it tells us a story about the implication in terms of what potentially is in front of us, which I believe is one of the greatest, steepest rallies we've ever seen, at least in my investing lifetime, since the dot-com boom and bust. And it could potentially go a lot longer and higher than people are giving it credit for. And the nature in which every volatility event is met with concern and crash calls, and markets are topping, and getting concerned over the timing of when markets are going to top. And it just tells me that the market is very anxious, and that's not common at all when you look at market psychology and where we should be in a market from a market psychology standpoint when you look at the charts objectively and block out all the news. Okay. If we Just a quick reminder on this structure, this is a monthly chart. And if we go back to, and we're talking about something that took, so 1966 through 1996, so 30 years, okay? 30 years of a reaccumulation of the S&P 500 denominated in money supply. That's what this chart is illustrating to us. And we had a downtrend, okay? Downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. First half of the downtrend basically is your correction. We've got a reaccumulation. Then we have the start of an uptrend, okay? For those of you that know, the kind of three things that I focus more on is Wyckoff, Elliott wave, but also trend analysis, and kind of combining all three. When you see these massive rounded bottoms, that's essentially what they are. And I always talk about sometimes you get flags, very common in, a one major, 1, 2. Sometimes those 1, 2s are contained within the rounding bottom. At the end of the day, we have very clear areas that the market respected, breached, ceiling, down, lower lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, breakout of this 30-year structure, mind you, and we got a retest. And I first posted this chart when we had a retest of this area in April, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But why I'm telling the story and why this is important is what happened after this structural retest of a 30-year macro reaccumulation. This was July 1996 was the month, okay? I was a junior in high school and I had no idea about any of this stuff. Why don't they teach us this stuff in high school? I don't know. Well, I think I know, but that's a rabbit hole for another day. Anyway, we retest, and then what happens? Before the retest, what did we run up against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months at an area. If you go all the way back 30 years prior, you had this bearish order block, and in all of essence started this downtrend, right? This was the first move that breached the low, okay? So this area was the key in this downtrend being started and then confirmed on the underside retest. So this order block is of interest if we run it all the way across, and we see it was of interest on the other side in terms of heavy consolidation, heavy shakeout before the real move that came after it, which was parabolic 4 years of an explosion, okay? An explosion in risk assets. Now, let's bring us back to where we are today. Okay, bring us back to where we are today. And if for those of you that follow me, I posted on X a USDT chart today and the implications and what's going on there. I think I talked about last week. But now we got to combine all these things together, right? We're combining that analysis with what I'm sharing with you here. And what is this picture? What is the picture that this is painting? Blow off top. And where did this downtrend start? This area, okay, which started the downtrend that then breached the previous kind of support area. Support became resistance. Now that's the line all the way across, okay? Macro reaccumulation, A, B, C, and then we're coming out of it. 1, 2, blow past it, out of it. And what do we hit? This resistance area that goes all the way back to where the downtrend started, officially started. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consolidation all the way down, retest of the top of this reaccumulation structure, and you get a violent reaction. And now we're 2 months out of it and we're Ving out. Okay. So the question you have to ask yourself is how is Bitcoin going to perform in this environment, by the way, which it's never been in? Let me be very clear. Bitcoin has never been in this environment. Why? Because it was born and created here. All right. So all of these gains, these bull cycles for Bitcoin have occurred in these phases. Okay. In those phases that I'm circling right there. In this phase. And so we're now entering potentially, this is not a guarantee, this is my thesis, a parabolic phase in markets denominated in M2. And my projection for Bitcoin from here is a 3 to 4x. Now you see where I'm going. Now you see where I'm going. And so expect volatility. Is this going to blow past it this month and next month? Maybe. Are we going to get some volatility around this key point? Probably. Could it check back, check down, and then, do one of these things? Who knows? I have no idea what that path's going to look like. But this chart is telling me the most important element of what comes next, and it could be 6 months, it could be 4 years. The timing of these things is going to get people way messed up. I promise you this. I promise you this, and this is why I always say I'm going to be wrong too. There was a time when I got really involved in trying to time things, and what I realized after the fact is that is a fool's errand, especially when looking at a chart like this. Bitcoin. Again, the most bullish chart in finance. I've had this chart up for the better part of 4 months as our guide. And what did I say for the last 3 weeks? 101 is my base case low level of this macro reaccumulation. I think we went to 100,000 and some change. Kind of ran those lows, which is good. That's a good thing to see where on a lower time frame, you had all sorts of bearish signals, and that's what you want to see. You want to see trading type of bearish signals and concerns and double tops. This is not normal. This is not a normal investing environment for participants to be talking about a double top when Bitcoin is here. Okay, after the largest reaccumulation event in Bitcoin's history. Okay, that's not normal, but it is exactly what we want. We want that are believers in Bitcoin, in whatever time frame you're a believer in it. And so for me, I think the bottom is in here. I'm looking for continuation up to 180 to 200,000 for the next major move. Sure, there's going to be weekly consolidations along the way. Not going to pretend to be able to guess when those happen, but maybe 160, 170, 145, that area. So that's the look on Bitcoin. Bullish. IWM, bullish. Nothing bearish about this. We had a weekly breakout confirmation. When you look at power behind the move on RSI, what is that? That's down here, right? This is a downtrend on power that goes all the way back to December. 1 touch, 2 touch, failure, the abyss, back up, touches the same trend line, failure, little right shoulder, and we broke through. Same thing is showing up on price, inverted head and shoulders. The neckline we broke through. We got the 30-week in front of us. We got the cloud in front of us. This is going to get, most likely in my mind, broken through in a weekly candle. Whether it starts next week or not, who cares? Is it going to be easy from here? No, I don't think so. I think this is the kind of thing that sets up where you have to be aware of this weakness in the cloud here. See how thin it is? So any type of move up to here, maybe into June, late July, August, you get a check back, and then, could do something like that, right? It's going to be very volatile, but I'm expecting some continuation here in the short term, into June, into the end of June. And so that is looking very constructive as well. Folks, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Take care. Thanks for the support.